drove over there, and I asked them how much or if they would sell their feed grinder, because they weren't using it, you know. And Shorty said, well, you could go up to maybe $25, $30 on it. So, he thought for a while he thought he should have 20, and I says, well, 15 sounds better to me. Okay, he says, for $15.
And did you tell Shorty 25?
No, I missed her. If I'd have been thinking, I was just so proud that I got a deal out of it.
Yeah.
Remember the two big
Trees, yeah.
trees that were out there?
In the bunkhouse.
Most of them, yeah, bunkhouse out there. Most of them died, and I took them, ordered from Gurney. 6 of those, they're seedless cottonwoods. Ordered 6 of them, and they sent 7. And they all grew, and then here a doggone animal of some kind took the end one. It was a little bit shorter than the rest of them. Nothing died.
Is that silver maple you got from
Here.
Whitewood?
Uh-huh.
Here.
No.
Huh? Sure is.
It's over in there somewhere.
That big one right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's well, I was pointing at not the silver maple. That's it right there.
That high one over there.
That's right.
He dug that out of our yard up in Whitewood.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's, yeah, I was thinking if it's been there a long time, it should be bigger than that, because those things grow
Yeah.
like crazy. I got one in my front yard. It's about this big around.
Oh. They told me down there that, you know what they do when the roots on a big tree go out, and
Yeah.
they shoot up sprouts. And they always told me down there that they wouldn't grow, but Bob took, 2 or 3 of them you took home? And they grew
One.
like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
One was right there.
We had a tree farm down the city.
I was just telling Pete Wire.
58? Was it that late?
What?
The silo in 58? I was out here. I thought I was just a kid.
We built the barn in 48.
58, that would have been, I would have been a junior in college. Maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, I can't.
Grandma Peterson was out here ditching, it was in the spring. She was ditching, chopping ice, so the water could run away from the house.
What is this?
Grandma Peterson?
Yeah?
She was out here chopping the ice so the water would run away from the house. So she had looked up there, take care now. You remember she always used to say that? Take care now.
Why?
He was shingling the roof.
Silo or something?
No, Shorty and I were shingling the barn.
Oh.
She thought we were going to fall, so take care now.
Trash.
Oh, just, I saw smoke come out.
It was in the winter, and Shorty wasn't quite ready to go home Saturday afternoon, so him and Rueben Scott and they were starting to celebrate a little bit. So he asked me to go home and do chores. So Tub Huggins was there. So I asked him if he'd go along with me and out here to do chores.
What, hug it?
Tub.
Oh, okay.
So I said, well, if you want, you can go up in the silo and start throwing down silage. And it was froze, in about 2 feet all the way around. He was up there chopping away. He yelled down once in a while. Is that enough yet? No, not enough yet. I kept yelling, no, it's not enough yet. And he filled the chute so he couldn't get out. I had to pitch, silage up against the wall in the little room to get him out of there. I had no silage.
When they shut, Jerry comes over, no surprise.
Oh, this is a storage room too, huh?
Yeah,
Have you been in this one yet?
looked.
That's all sorts
I found his kids' old high chair in here.
Did you?
Yeah, right there.
There's the antique. She'd had it for 15 years, 15 years, and I think I've had it for 15 or 20 years now. I've had it running, but I never saw it with it. It's too damn heavy.
Yeah.
Here's windows and the screens out of Shorty's trailer house. We put all those windows in it.
Trailer house.
Yeah, his trailer house they had over at
On a lake down North Dakota.
In a marsh.
Oh, yeah.
Squeezes. Remember the sandy spot.
Well, that's why we went out there, was to look at the sand. Dwayne and Deb.
Out there and polish our plows in the spring of the year,
Oh,
or when we started plowing.
yeah. I remember going out there and picking potato bugs with her.
Yep.
Yeah.
I came.
Who drove the Mercury?
I don't know.
Pontiac?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the black one is. I can't remember.
Isn't that Hood Ornament? Pontiac Ornament?
The old outhouse. Old pontoon.
Yeah, it looked like that.
Is that the two-holer that used to be up by the house?
That's all in here.
The West Road?
Well,
Yeah, that hasn't always been there, Bud.
It was further up here.
It was up, you came off the front porch, it was off to the right.
Yeah.
doing chores and don't get the calls. I'm trying to get her to take life easier. And
Bob and I moved over to the Renmo place in 39.
See, I didn't ever know that that was any place other than yours.
Hold on, I was telling me to plug it in.
that's been one of them. What was your name? Not Mary, not Mabel.
Was it Mabel?
It was Mabel.
I think so.
Well, where were you and Bub living? Were you living with Sam and Lolly then?
No, Sam wasn't married then. He got married in 42. This was in 39.
Oh, so the three of you lived over on the home place?
Bob and I moved over there first, and Bob was redoing the house.
No, I'm talking about
We were bachelors.
before you moved to the Brenman place.
Oh, we all lived over on the home place then.
And the home place is Sam and Lolly's. Was
Yeah.
Sam and Lolly's.
So then was it after Sam and Lolly got married that you moved over to the...
No, Bob and I moved in 39, so I started school then in the Hagen School.
Okay.
And,
Is that the one where my mother taught? That one
No,
just...
she taught the Hemmah School.
Oh.
Back.
123. 121 is the East Room.
Well, which one was the one that was close to the Higgin? Oh,
121.
121.
I could never figure out where 122 was until they finally, somewhere or the other, I read an article and that was where the town hall was. That was 122.
Oh, it wasn't?
Yeah, and when Ross and here told about that 122 was the town hall.
I never knew that either.
Yeah. That's the way I found
Is that
out
where
about
your
it.
milk is?
but I'm still mixed up.
Oh, I forgot
Did Grandpa and Grandma move to the Brenman place
Yeah.
before you two did?
No, no.
Oh.
Bob and I,
You moved there first.
so I could go to school in the new school.
Okay. And then,
Maybe.
So Grandpa and Grandma were still living with Sam?
Yeah, and then in 40 they moved over to Wilkes
Move
place.
that and set the
Okay.
camera there, you won't have to hold it for hours.
So that place has always been your place?
Bought it in 39.
But you bought it from the Brenmans?
No, county. County owned it.
Oh, what was it, tax
Back
forfeit or
in,
something?
back in the 30s, you know,
The
and
Depression.
people lost their land on account of the couldn't pay
Okay.
taxes.
Okay, so it was tax forfeited,
Yep.
okay.
We bought the farm, we paid, bought the farm for 2,100. That 160 acres, but then we bought another 40 acres from Matt Diebold. So I got 200 acres up in on my farm, and it was a full section.
So did all of your land then connect from where Sam and Lolly lived, all the way over?
No, there's the, they called it the Haugen land, we called it, there's Erickson land in there too.
Did you eventually get it? So I've always had the impression in my mind that that whole property from was owned by you guys.
Never
Oh.
did join.
Hmm?
It never did join the two places.
No, but we
So,
rented,
so,
Yeah,
we rented, so we did farm straight across from our place and
yeah,
clear over to,
but you rented the property then?
rented some property as,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Adolph and Josie didn't ever own
yes,
your place?
Dad, Dad bought the home place. He bought 160 and a 40 from Grandpa Hemmah, from his dad, for $8,000.
That was the original
And-
Hemmah home.
And Robert thought that Grandpa Hemmah had given Dad that 160 acres on the south side of the road. And I told him I could prove that he had bought it because we'd been to the courthouse and checked, and Dad had paid $8,000 for that. Robert didn't want to see it.
Is that right?
He wouldn't believe it. Dad had paid $8,000. Grandpa had about $8,000. Then of course, Grandpa Hemmah had $4,000 in the bank. Then the bank's closed, and he got out of that $4,000, he got $400 back. That's how much he lost. Everybody lost money.
then in 41, Harry Schwartz comes from New York.
Tell that story,
Took my
Jim.
big brother away.
Tell that one on tape. I want that on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim never will. You never will forget Harry Schwartz.
I've never heard this story.
Well, Jim can
I'll go for it.
He was around.
They were getting guys to work at a defense plant out in California. Okay.
And this Harry Schwartz come one night. Well, it was about shore time, a little after. I guess we'd finished chores. Shorty and Bub and Dad and Sam, they were all sitting on the car talking to this little short guy from New York. He had black curly hair. And they started talking about folks who go to California and work in the defense plant.
I had a low draft number, 555 was my draft number, but he called it low.
This was before you went in the service.
That's
Yeah, 41. crying. I went in and told Ma, and she started crying. But anyway, then he decided to do that. And then Harry Schwartz would set up a deal for us the next night for he's take us into Webster for supper. And when we finished eating, Harry Schwartz, he pulls $100 bill out of his billfold to pay for it. And $100.
Well, in those days, man, that was,
Yes, that was.
I'll never forget that.
so he was just a recruiter that
Yeah,
he
recruiting,
went
yeah.
around the rural areas and,
Yeah. So I suppose he'd go to the courthouse and find out who had the low numbers, and then try to get them to. Marvin Hemmah went with Boone.
well, what did the low number have to do with it?
Well, it's just like classification, like I was,
But why would he wanna get the guys with the low numbers?
to keep them out of the service.
Oh, to keep them out of the service, huh? Okay.
Then it-
So if you were working in a defense plant, why you,
They deferred.
they'd defer you?
Yeah, I got a deferment from the draft board every 3 months.
Okay. I understand.
And I guess, I can't remember if I'd been working a year or a little over a year. And they were drafting the guys out of the plant, and they were putting the women in and Negroes to work in the defense plant. I worked on that B-51 Mustang fighter plane. I don't know if you know anything about it. But
Oh, yeah, that was
it's the
the
fastest.
workhorse of the Second World War, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
So
I
you
get-
were only about, what, 10 years old or so, 9, 10 years old at the time?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, so that's why you were, yeah, I can see why your big brother was.
Yeah.
Well, how many of you actually lived on Dwayne's place at this time?
The folks in
all of us.
Thelma and Millie and Toots. Toots was pretty much gone, but Thelma and Millie were still in high school.
And
And when
Shorty?
they got through high school, then
And
they were
Shorty.
all, they were.
But
Yeah,
Sam and Lolly were over on the other place.
Yeah, they got married November 7th in 42, Sam and Molly.
Okay.
And then they took over the home place. Then Millie didn't move over there. She stayed with Sam and drove to high school from Sam's in 41 and 2. Then after he got married, then Millie moved over to Boob's place. And Thelma, she used to walk to the bus, about 1.75 miles over past Scotland's. Well, I did too.
I guess we called it 2 miles, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, so who ran the show then? Adolf?
Yeah, pretty much.
He was pretty much,
Well, he ran the show, but he was gone all the time. He'd get up in the morning and we'd do the milk, and then he'd take off, go to town, and he wouldn't come back again until 5 o'clock in the evening. We didn't know what he'd done. I don't know if it was him and Benny Peterson and Tom Huggett that
did you ever find out?
were friends. Well, they had, it was during the Depression, you know, so they were on a job, on a job where they would repair barn walls and doors and stuff like that. So
Well, was this when he was planting shelter belts too? When was that in his life?
But we just done that over at Bo's place.
I thought that you traveled around and
No,
planted
we-
shelter belts.
We had that shelter belt, the government, none of the government deal. You could sign up
Yeah,
and have a shelter belt planted. You had to get the ground ready,
but I
Then-
thought,
furnish a fence and fence it. And when we done, we got the ground ready, and then these guys that, were working on this government job didn't have any work, so they come and put the fence up, and we bought the posts and wire and stuff.
I always thought that Grandpa actually was working, doing that for a period of time.
Johnny Waldusky and I, we planted a lot of those trees.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
For other people or just for your,
On Will's property there.
uh-huh.
And,
I had a tractor that pulled,
discs and,
well, we had to get the ground ready.
yeah.
Then they had a subsoiler, they call it a subsoiler. And then they went,
Yeah.
It would dig kind of a trench? The subsoiler would dig kind of a trench that you,
But Grandpa Hemmah, all those willow trees down in that slough northwest of the barn there, he'd go find a willow tree, cut it down, then cut them in sticks like this. And Grandpa Hemmah and I, and Donnie Waldusky, we'd go stick those right in the mud alongside the slough, you know. And then kind of over there by Lars's.
this was Adolph's father.
Yeah, Grandpa
Yeah.
Andrew.
my land.
When we first moved over there,
One tree.
huh?
There was one tree on the place,
Yeah,
down in the pasture.
but you wouldn't, yeah, down by that slough. What was I gonna say? Oh, when we first moved, that place was a total disaster. I mean, just unbelievable, run down.
The house and,
Weeds all over. And Grandpa Hemmah and I, we sat on the front porch and shot gophers for 2 weeks. Remember that?
is this the
We're
original?
We're both
Okay, we're Biblins,
bought it
okay,
from the Brenmans lived there.
okay.
We shot,
Tony owned it.
we shot gophers for 2 weeks just sitting on the front step. So mad it was. And then after that, then we started working out. a little
Well,
farther.
gophers were a real, plague at that time, weren't they? I
Oh,
mean,
they were just thick.
Out
Boy.
in Lloyd and I'd go hunting gophers, they were all over the pasture, you'd see them all the time. All
yeah,
stuff
well, I
around.
did too, I think, didn't we get a penny a tail or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that?
Boy, if I missed, I'd catch up.
Didn't want you wasting any bullets, huh?
You even had to get two lined up so you get two in one shot.
Yeah. But this one time we were walking straight east of the house there, and the hog house wasn't there at that time. That one down south of the
Yeah, I
house.
know what you're talking about.
And there was a slough down there, and a little knoll over there. And here sat an owl. I mean, hardly see it. And I lifted up my that 22 single barrel. I lifted it. Grandpa says, "Don't waste a shell." He says, "You can't hit that." I shot anyway. It disappeared. He says, "See, it just went down the hole." So as we were walking around, shooting gophers and stuff, we got pretty close over there, so I walked over that hole, and there lay that owl, right between the two big eyes. I'll never forget the look on his face.
Reality probably was that you probably, if you'd have left that owl alive, it would have probably eaten more gophers than
Yeah.
what you could ever shoot.
Yeah.
I know we went over and visited Robert and Evelyn and then towards this, and the land was rocky and just side hill. I don't know how much time if you ever moved in there. Of course, he finally left and moved into Minnesota, and that's where he made his money. But we went in out in this pasture, Marvin and Shorty and I, and up at that side hill it was clay, and they dug out, so it just hold after hold. And here Shorty runs ahead of us up toward where the gophers were, and here Marvin races the old shotgun and shoots, and Shorty jumped up in the air, and here a bullet hit him up here in the soft part of the eye, you know. I can't remember. I think Shorty went to Rochester for a checkup. Did he ever go to Rochester?
I don't think so. Sam did, but not. But that baby was in there for a long time.
Yeah, no, they x-rayed him, and that BB was in his, up there in his eye.
So they just left it till it worked itself out, huh?
It never did. It just stayed there. I think he died with it in there. He ain't dead yet. He still got it.
I missed something.
He still got it. I think the doctor told him that he'd die with that BB in his eye.
Yeah.
So then after Adolf died, some of you were still living. You were married to Verona by that time?
No.
Oh, you weren't, so.
Was in the service.
He died October 8th in 45. And Bob married Verona in, what, December?
December 8th.
December 8th, and we come back in March of 46.
February.
So who was living on?
46. Dad was still in the service when he got the call about Grandpa.
Yeah.
You were in the service when you got the call about Grandpa. Yeah, he's told that story many a times.
Yeah, it was October 8th on Sunday, and
Monday morning.
well, yeah,
He died.
Sunday night, or 2:05 Monday morning. Or no, 1:05.
1 o'clock.
Anyway, it was a wet thaw, and he had that thrasher on, you know. And it was cold, and just raw.
Had snow.
Yeah.
Shocked to recover with snow.
And he come home that night, and for some reason, John Hemmah was staying out there. And Mom, the girls went to Luther League. And it was about 10:30, and he was standing in front of the stove with the oven door down, the old cook stove with the oven door down, trying to get warmed up. And he said, well, you and John better go to bed. So we went upstairs, went to bed, and Ma let out a scream about 1 o'clock that he was sick. Shorty and the girls, and they all run down there, and he just took his last breath, and that's it.
Huh.
I wouldn't go in that bedroom for way over a year after that.
Mom never went in there and slept. On a night, slept in the bedroom.
Yeah. I just couldn't force myself to go in there.
Do you think it had something to do with him working hard on the threshing and then the cold weather?
He thought he had rheumatism, and he really died of a heart attack. He had his heart burst.
So it probably had nothing to do with it.
Well,
Well, I suppose his working conditions would have aggravated it, yeah. Did he ever go to a doctor? I mean, did men in those days ever?
Yeah, he go down to Canastota, you know, south of
Yeah.
Metro over there.
Have treatments.
Yeah. He go down there a couple times a year.
But they didn't ever detect that he had a heart problem.
I don't know what they did to him down there.
Well, they,
Did they have hot baths or something?
no,
Massage?
massage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we had the cream round too, you know. Him and I have done that. That's why I learned how to drive a truck.
You mean you collected cream from all the farmers for the creamery?
3 counties.
For the Roslyn Creamery?
Him and Johnny Hansen. Johnny Hansen went west to Roslyn, and I don't know. I know Dad went north, went up near that territory. Where he was acquainted.
Was that,
I went with him up there.
was it hauling the cream cans then?
Yep.
All the farmers would have cream cans?
Yep. We'd deliver empty cans, and if they wanted a pound of butter, 2 pounds of butter, 3 pounds of butter, 4 pounds of butter,
Right.
deliver that too.
We'd fill cream cans with
Switch chairs.
butter. And then you always bought candy for the kids.
Dad done that.
Yeah,
Out of his pocket.
yeah. We'd come driving up those driveways to the farms, you know. And kids come running down the driveway, looking down. She kind of liked me. I would like to get butter out for her.
We always called her Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
What her name was, Merry Christmas Doll. Yeah.
So she was the same age as you approximately?
No, she was, I think 2 years older.
But I mean, close.
Would you marry again?
I don't
And then her daughter was about Joanne and my age.
Yeah,
All I know is she had a tough life.
she made it that way.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
She was,
What you call them, fell off the tractor and got caught in the plow and dragged her husband.
Oh, yeah, I remember something about that.
you mean even when she lived with Ina and Art, she was,
Oh, no.
oh,
She used to go with Elmer Strand.
Little kids swimming out there.
He was kind of, is he any different or
Down
just
by
his looks?
Wagner.
Oh.
The one
Mel.
that had the ball out the back.
The Strand kids, they were noted for being slow in school and kind of backwards.
Yeah. But he had a new 41 Plymouth. He'd wear it down and he'd always have striped big overalls on. I never forget that. Dating.
dress fit to kill, huh?
They'd drive up and down Main Street in Roslyn Saturday night.
Well, she eventually became an alcoholic, didn't she?
Yeah, prostitute.
Oh, was that? Yeah, I guess I heard
Say
that.
what?
Prostitute. Well, both her and her daughter.
Who was she married to then again?
Was this while Ida and Art were still alive?
I think it was pretty much after they had died that she went really become an alcoholic.
Was she related to them?
They, she lived with them. I don't know if she was adopted or what.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Here she kept her own name.
Yeah. But she, Sam used to fill me in on her. She had a place in Wampay.
Well, that's where they lived,
Yeah.
her and her husband.
was, I don't know if it was my 25th alumni or something, or 20th, maybe. And we were standing outside the school, and before the program started, and hear her and her husband come walking. They were both
See
drunk.
that
as
roof?
could be. They were both
I was
just
thinking the
drunk as
chimes
could
too.
be.
But
No, I was thinking that window.
Was she fairly attractive?
She was when she was young, when she lived in
That's what I
Maiden.
recall, is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, she was a pretty good looking gal.
so then after Grandpa died, then the same ones of you and Shorty and Thelma and Millie and
That's,
Grandma
That's
were living there. And then you came back home?
in 46. I thought it was March 6th when you come home. You said February, huh?
February
Boy.
46.
I wonder why.
7th of February.
I wonder why I didn't inherit this ability like you guys have for remembering dates.
well, you know what I figured out
But
is we've got so much more in our lives happening, whereas, you know, when you're.
I can't remember a date to save my soul. I have to think.
Well, and Dad can tell you down to the hour and the minute.
Yeah, and Jim here, he's talking about he died at 2:05 or something.
1:05 a.m.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even
1:05.
remember my own birthday sometimes.
105.
Yeah.
Boy, I just completely missed out on that. Ability to remember dates and things.
That amazes me too, but I just figured it's because they didn't have so much extra stuff going into their heads like we do. Just so much.
Yeah, Ham called me and told me that your dad passed away and sweat should have run off of me. Finally had to get one of the guys in the order.
And who?
Huh?
Who called you?
Hemmah.
Oh,
Hemmah.
Ham. I thought you said
Did you
Ann.
get leave then to come home for the funeral?
Your foot.
But emergency furlough on 15 day and then went back and then I was transferred, so I got another 12-day furlough. So I went back home again. That's when Ron and I got married.
Tell them about the plane, how you had to get home, how you managed to get home.
Train.
No, the airplane.
Yeah, I got a ride on the first time I went back.
Military transport plane?
A military plane was going to whatever town it was, and I didn't know where the Sam Hector town was, but I was in Kieserville, Mississippi, and I knew that I wouldn't go south, I'd go north, and that's where I had to go to get home.
You were at Keesler?
Oh, yeah.
I was there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was at Keesler Field, then I was back in MP's, but I was 6 months. I can't remember the name of the place now. Taking radio, but I washed out because I couldn't take cold fast enough. I could get up to 30 words a minute. I had to get up to 60.
So when did Shorty and Josie move over to the Hagen place then?
48.
Already bought it then, didn't they? Those hunters from Minneapolis couldn't come to South Dakota to hunt anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, it was owned by hunters, huh? It was,
Yeah, banker. Well, one of them was a banker, Al Rich. And, Jerry Manning,
You remember, can't you?
they owned it. Shorty bought it for, I don't know.
So that by that time then, had everybody left home except, I mean, you and Millie and Thelma and Toots?
No, I lived there with Lon Shorty.
what?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah,
I lived there with Mom Shorty.
yeah.
All memories. Always gotta have a good memory though.
See, what,
Yep.
this is really interesting to me because, to me, it all flows together. I mean, it was just, but to me, your place was more the center of activity than Sam's place was.
Yeah.
Because that's where I always stayed.
Yep.
And
Nobody ever stayed over Sam's.
I stayed over there when he had surgery for something. And I stayed over there for quite a long time.
Prostate surgery?
Was that what it was?
Maybe it was when
Yes,
they did the veins in his legs.
Uh-huh.
He had to go up to Rochester for those veins in his leg. That.
That was later.
That was
Oh,
later,
was
I
it?
think,
Okay.
yeah.
But I got an emergency leave to come home. He had ulcers. So bad. So I got emergency leave, 30-day leave to come home and help.
Help Sam? Or help Lolly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed over there for
Harvest?
3-4 weeks, I think.
Well, I think it was AIM.
I had a bedroom out on that front porch, I remember.
Oh,
Bed out there. I mean.
Front porch?
Yeah, didn't they?
Oh, you, okay.
on the west side.
Yeah, that's the front, that's the back for me,
But
but
yeah.
Oh. I always thought it was the front of the house because it
Yeah.
had the porch there.
that's the way it was to me, it was always, that was always the back of the house.
Well, I suppose you never used it. I mean,
Front house.
you never
was-
came in that way. Well, I think that's why it was a good bedroom for me, because nobody ever... Yeah, I'll never forget that. Lolly and I, boy, I was so tired out after worked over there, because Lolly was a real slave driver. I mean, we had fun. It was, I don't regret that I ever did it, but man, she'd get me up at 4:30 in the morning.
Gee.
I was so tired by bedtime. And she had me going all day long with this and that.
Yeah.
But of course, she was always.
Pelican out on the lake over there.
Yeah, it's all over there too. They must be
like
getting the
catching
fish.
on fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that little boy now. I see his life jacket. Oh, there he is. There's 2 little boys over here swimming in the lake.
So then, when did you leave Shorty, or the Hagen place? Yeah, you.
Well, in 49 was the first time. And then I was back for a while, and I went back to Minneapolis again.
When did you go to Brown Institute? The second time?
No, after I got out of service.
Or was it Dunwoody?
I went to Dunwoody's for 1 year, and the university for about a semester and a half, and then to Northwest Electronics Institute for 2 solid years. And you go all year round, you get 2 weeks vacation.
Wow.
I went 2 years there.
Then when did you get the team store then? Did you work for somebody after?
Yeah, I got a nervous breakdown. Had to sell out.
Oh, you got the team store right away then after you got your...
Well, I wanted to start up a distributorship in Minneapolis, and Bev was teaching school, and so about 6 months before I was to graduate, this one instructor, old Sweet Nelson was his name, I was kind of his teacher's pet, and we started looking into leases and getting major lines, like RCA, Sylvania, and GE, and it was just about impossible because they were all tied up. So then about 6 weeks before I was to graduate, he says, I've got an idea. He says, I want to introduce you to this guy. He says, because he's looking for guys. So he took me over to St. Paul. So he called up this George Bauman and made an appointment. And so Bev and I went over there at 8 o'clock. And it was 12 o'clock when I got out of his office, when we got out of his office. And I knew right there, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. So then the time went on and Bev was pregnant. And I had like 4 weeks left and I kept calling this George. I was getting pretty worried. You know? And, I wanted to work for a team store. It was Electronics Associate at that time.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of a long story, but anyway, I had a week left of school, and I was really getting nervous. Sunday night, 10:30, George Bauman calls. He says, I want you and Bev over to my office right now. And we were getting ready for bed. So we jumped in the car and drove over there. And we kind of sensed on the way over there that he was going to try to sell us a store. And we both, no way, we're going to get some experience. We left there about 2:30 in the morning. And a week later, Thursday we drove up to Grand Forks and back down to Minneapolis, packed up everything. And a week later we were in Grand Forks. That's how fast it went. That was July 1st of '59.
So he sold you the store.
Yep. Then when I went up to Grand Forks, I come home and asked Shorty if he'd loan me. We needed $7,000. And see, how was that? Yeah, so him and Ma talked and they called me in Minneapolis and they had talked to Emma and Ma had $1,500. Emma had $1,500 and Shorty mortgaged his farm for $4,000. So we got the $7,000 that way. And within a year we paid off Ma and Emma and just about all of Shorty's. And we borrowed, and this George Bauman, he loaned us $70,000.
70?
$70,000. And we had Shorty, everybody paid off within a year and a half as far as relatives. With interest, 7% interest. I wouldn't borrow it unless they would take interest. We went into George Gilbertson, the bank, and he wrote up the notes and at 7%.
7?
Yeah, paid them all back. And 4 years and 1 month and 16 days later, I took the final check down to George Bauman, $70,000. So that's how that went. August 16th.
Well, I was just thinking that $7,000 would be equal to what, about 70,000 now?
Yeah,
So the 70,000 would be equal to about 700,000.
Yeah.
With the inflation, I mean, you're talking
Well,
a lot of money.
Yeah, they used to say it doubles every 10 years, so 7,000 would be 14,000 10 years later.
Yeah,
28,000.
that's 43 years ago.
So, be over 100,000.
Then you take the 70,000 and do it the same thing with that. You're talking a lot of money. Man.
Yeah, we brought the check out to Emma. $1,500. She says, "I don't want that back so soon." I don't want that back so soon.
But you want to make more interest on it?
Yeah, if we had her paid off in 6 months.
She probably figured if she got paid back that soon, she wasn't helping you.
Yeah.
You know.
That's probably better interest than she was making at the bank, too.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
it
suppose
was.
they were probably paying 1 or 2%
Yeah,
in those days.
that's what we paid George Bauman too, 7,000 or 7%.
I suppose I shouldn't say this, but I just wonder how much Ellie owed Emma for working for him. And then they got married.
She worked for him before they got married. Huh?
Sure. They worked there quite a while.
They were married in 36, weren't they?
Yep. They were.
I was 4 years old, but I remember just like,
Yeah, and can you remember what years your brothers and sisters were married?
Hmm?
Me?
Yeah.
No way.
And he's talking about an aunt.
I can't remember how old they are. No, I don't have any capability at all for remembering dates.
oh,
I think our mind is just filled up with
I
so
used to
much anymore.
have such a terrible time in school. I just have to literally memorize dates.
numbers and dates. I was really blessed with remembering numbers.
And I've never understood it because I've always been good at everything related, like mathematics and physics and stuff like that, but I just can't remember dates and times.
Well, math was my favorite subject in school. I was reading a letter that your mom sent back to me that I'd written to Bob. And I was just reading it here not too long. And it said, I said to Bob that math was my main favorite subject. And phone numbers. I can remember phone numbers. Like Jimi Hendrix's over here. Ever since he told me his phone number 40 years ago, I've never looked it up since. I just
486.
You must be
528.
4528.
Yours is 4246 and 4247.
46
must
we don't have
have,
hooked up though.
Yeah.
remember Dustin Hoffman in that movie The Rain Man?
Mhm. Yeah.
He was, what was it he was called? There's a name for people that have this phenomenal ability with numbers. He could remember all kinds of numbers, but he could also, you don't have this part I assume, but he could also do all kinds of mathematics and he's had complex mathematics.
The disease he had, it's one where they don't like to be hugged and they don't look you in the face and they bang their heads on the walls and I can't think of what it is. My best friend works the school with 2 of them.
Well, you must
He was
have part of
autistic,
that.
wasn't he?
Autistic, yeah, autistic. He was autistic, but his
The
certain
Rain-
ones of the autistic people, excel like that in the numbers and stuff.
Well, in something.
Oh, in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might
There's
be,
autistic kids that are really good at musical instruments too.
yeah,
Okay.
You know, it's different things for different artistic people, but they excel in one thing, but nothing in the others.
there's a word that, there was a name for him, it was ended with taunt, I think. I'm thinking mutant, but it's not mutant, it's something else.
I've seen a program on television one time where an autistic kid could pick up any kind of instrument and learn it. You know, snap the finger. All he had to do is, you know, watch and listen to somebody. And pick the instrument up and do the same thing that the person that had just done it did. I never forget it, but he had to hear somebody else do it first, and then he
Look
just,
at Nikki.
like a recording, you know, and he just did it.
How much space there?
Well, it just keeps her warmer that way.
Tongue hanging out. And boy, she's just really.
Keeps her warmer when I snuggle up real close.
Oh. They want
Yeah.
pickled herring. Dad's getting into his pickled herring. Pig's feet. He's got his pig's feet supply in there.
Pig's feet and pickle herring, man.
Oh, I love those pig hawks.
I haven't had those for years.
They want some of your pig's feet. I don't think you got the pork hocks this time. I think you got the pig's feet, but kind of in the same order.
That's what he has for a bedtime snack?
And
He's got a snack
anytime
on
he
him
goes in
anytime.
the refrigerator, he'll go in there in the middle of the afternoon sometimes. Yeah, he does go in usually this time of night. doesn't he?
Yeah, it's kind of a late
Yeah.
night snack.
I told him you better watch it. I give him nightmares.
Maybe I can eat them
all
so I
that
quit
fish, all
having.
that fish on your belly, and pig's feet. You'll have nightmares.
Well, how do you spell lutefisk?
Lutefisk.
That's the way I've always spelled it. Now, I was reading stuff in these 1930 Webster newspapers, and several people have written about lutefisk, and they use a D instead of a T.
Yeah, I've seen it spelled that way. But I think
Got
now the
changed,
preferred spelling is with a T.
Yeah.
But some people actually call it lutefisk. Without, I've heard people call it that rather than saying lutefisk.
Huh. These kids are still in that water.
Yeah, theirs got to be awful cold when they come out.
Maybe that's why they're still in there.
I'm sure the water's probably warmer than the air.
Yeah, I bet it feels warm.
Feels good in the water, and then they come out and have to dry out. That's going to be rough. Last night we sat here and watched the water, the fog come off of the water last night. It got so foggy you couldn't even see over in there, and you looked like somebody boiling water out there. Just the fog coming off that water, and
All right, set that phone down. You said you guys are staying a couple days, aren't you? So I can call Lloyd and let him know.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I didn't ring, and then when he answered the phone, put Jim on and say, "Where are they? Yeah, well, I'm out here fishing."
I was trying to see where I set it down there on the chair.
I thought we had a date.
Yeah, well, we had a date, huh? Walleye's biting.
Yeah.
Well, I was tentatively thinking about leaving Friday morning. If that's as long as you're gonna stay. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna stay at least that long.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Well, you already lost one day fishing here.
Yeah,
Supposed to get nice tomorrow, 82 degrees, I think.
I bought the 3-day license, but I didn't get my money's worth today.
Yeah.
I suppose I could go out there and stand on the dock. There probably wouldn't be any mosquitoes out there tonight.
No. It's kind of hard to cast into that.
Yeah.
That wind. Though.
That's tough, yeah.
You got to have the fishing lure that Ruben was using
Yeah,
the other
he's
day. He's got a 3-prong lure. It's about that long.
Weighs about 2 pounds.
He went out there to
Cast
cast off the dock, and Dennis says, that's too big. He says, well, he's got to have a big lure to catch a big fish. He's
Yeah.
going after big fish.
What in the world are you gonna catch with that, Ruben? But it was.
Was it yesterday morning at 9 o'clock? He went out there and,
Well, he caught that
Caught a
northern,
northern.
little teeny thing though.
yeah, little bitty lure about like that. Little silver thing with a little orange
Yeah.
deal on it. It wasn't big enough to keep, but it, that size of northern.
Well, I think the biggest northern we've seen this summer was that one that was about 2 foot long that I caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one we took down to Agnes and Joanne.
Yep.
That's what we cooked for them was the, well, northern and walleye and a little bit of the other, but crappie.
I'm not much of a fish eater, but I kind of like the crappie myself.
Oh,
No
crappie.
no bones whatsoever in there.
Crappie is great.
Yeah, they're really good. But
I
I
have a recipe for crappie fillets where you dip them in egg and cracker crumbs,
Oh.
saltine cracker crumbs, and then you fry them and really
do you scale them or fillet them?
fillet them.
Yeah. Some people scale them and then.
Yeah, I fillet everything. And then you fry them in hot oil so they get nice and crispy.
I would like that. I don't know if we got any saltine crackers out here.
What does it take, like a minute and a half, 2 minutes on each side?
Yeah, just a short time.
Yeah, otherwise they get mushy, or...
Yeah, you gotta do them hot and fast.
Yeah. That's all that out of it.
But that crappie is really good. That's about my favorite fish, I think, next to walleye.
Yeah.
For taste.
Yeah, he should have been alive when this fishing buddy down there is fishing in the spring. Roosevelt Lake, it's about 8 miles northeast.
Yeah, it's one of those big reservoirs, isn't it?
Yeah. No limit. The biggest, that's all there was, is crappies. The biggest one I caught was 4.5 pounds. No limit.
How big is that? Like that?
Yeah, about like that, but they're wide.
Yeah.
And, they're about the size of a fry pan, Oh, man, that fight, oh, what a thrill. Just as fast as you can cast. I bring back between 250, 200 fish.
Are they overpopulated? Is that why they don't have any limit or anything?
I don't know what the deal is, though. But let's see, the second or third year we went down, and it was just a tremendous wind driving down. We got there that night, and the next morning we went out, we didn't even get a bite. And this guy, we run into the guide that we had the first year, and he said after a windstorm like that, he says, just forget it. There's no use. So then we went down to the reservation about 40 miles south of there. And there they had a 25 limit. And we went down, we caught our 50 fish. Man, I didn't think we were gonna get out of there.
Get anything in Lloyd?
About 20 cops or
keep getting
game
past
wardens.
busy
I guess
signals.
they were.
So if it
And they
keeps
went
doing that,
through-
I'll go through column the other
Well,
way.
we had the live wells on the boat.
I can do the
my boat.
800, his
No, his
800
boat.
number, which is the one I normally
My
give
big
him.
one, his boat.
Maybe he's trying to call here.
And,
Hello? Yeah.
They wouldn't,
Yes, he is.
They
I'll
wouldn't
put
let-
him on.
they wouldn't let us keep in the live well. They'd drain it.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Hendrickson.
They went through every cubby hole you could imagine. Howdy. No, too windy. And cold. Oh, man.
And Saturday it was so hot you couldn't
Yeah.
stand it. Ugh.
So I hear you're busy.
None of them were out here this weekend, were they? Or Jim?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess they were, because Farrell was sitting out in the lake
Yeah.
when we were sitting out in the lake.
Give me and Al a hard time about being beach
Oh.
whales.
Everybody just took their chairs and put their chairs out in the lake and sat in them.
Yeah.
It was so hot out
Yeah.
here Saturday. Saturday it was just
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both out here.
No,
Yeah, I didn't see
Saturday.
Jim.
I don't
we
know.
didn't go out at all. David home.
That's 'cause we weren't here Sunday, so we didn't know.
Yeah.
He met, we met here.
Yep, my tape's
He
going
came
up.
up by Duluth.
You know, the tape out of the case on our
Pretty
bed.
good.
So I stayed in Pierce Sunday night. Right
Paper
by the
and stuff
river.
off for me.
Hmm?
Take the paper and
Cast
stuff off.
out and I got me a nice walleye. And then yesterday I went to Watertown and fished with Pete for half a day out on Compesca. Yeah. And I caught one there. That's the only bite we had all day. And then I got here about 1 o'clock today or so. So that's about it. Yeah.
Our son and daughter and Brad and Carrie and the two kids were up here the week of the 4th.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when Jim and Dad and Lloyd had fished, they'd fished till 12:30
Oh,
in
yeah?
the morning because they were just catching
Oh,
crappies
good.
right and left. They stayed out there till 12:30 in the morning. Lloyd had the lighted bobbers, and so Dad was, or it was Dad
Sure.
or Dad and Lloyd were cleaning fish in
Oh,
here
yeah.
till 1:30 in the morning. Bev said she was sure Jim had gone
Yeah.
to town because it was almost 2 o'clock by the time he came
What
back to
time
the
do you
trailer to
think
go
you
to bed. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
Brad and his wife and the two kids,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I guess her family's favorite fish is crappie, and when she heard we were getting crappie at night for 3 nights in a row, she was out there with
Sure.
mosquitoes. Mosquitoes get pretty bad. From 10 to midnight, 3 nights in a row, she stood out there just pulling crappies in one right after the other. She was having a ball. Everybody else was sitting in here. She's out there all by herself, just fishing the heck out of those crappies.
Yeah, mosquitoes were biting. And
Yeah.
One of the things I don't like about night fishing
Uh-huh.
is they have to clean
Clean
them.
them that
at
late.
night.
Tuck's feeling
Yeah.
pretty good now?
Yeah.
I like to clean my fish in the day when
Oh,
mosquitoes aren't so bad.
Oh, we clean them
Fillet?
inside.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we clean them over here on the sink.
You fillet?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Doesn't take long then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the neighbor cleans his outside because he comes and gets, Dad's got a filleting table along the cabinet. He always comes over.
Oh, have
We
you?
should tell him just to keep
I
it over
wondered
there because we
about
never
that.
use it. Every time he's going to do it, he's got to come over here and get it and take it over there.
About 4 o'clock.
Never thought about just telling him to keep it over there.
Oops. The place.
He looks like he's filleting fish
No
back there and he's
reason
trying to
does
get that
anywhere
cassette
out there
tape out of that
somewhere else.
plastic.
So we were there till I guess maybe around 6 or so. And Noreen fixed a big meal again tonight, so.
Well, I was hungry.
But
We eat breakfast and then we go out there. We eat a late breakfast and then we go out there and then don't eat until we get home late again. Dad, we take stuff so Dad can fix the
yeah,
sandwich,
that's
but
what they-
Dan and I go
Edward
from
did too.
morning until whenever we get it done here, so it gets to be kind of far in between meals.
No, no. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll fix a root beer float out there when the hot days,
Yeah.
but it didn't
Boat,
sound that
the
good today.
motorboat.
I took ice cream out there, but it didn't sound that good.
Yeah.
If you guys want ice cream, you
Yeah.
got ice cream if you don't want ice cream later or now, or
Well, it's,
Well, I'm fine. Thank you.
I don't, you know, I come up from Watertown on that Highway 19 into Wabae.
take one of
And there
these
was, do you
labels
remember
and
that
write
lake you showed
South
me
Dakota
South of Wabae there?
2002
There was quite a few boats out there. Yeah.
or July 2002 or whatever. Stick it on here. These pins right there on the table.
Nice.
Sorry.
that right?
We bring boxes of stuff in from the farm and boxes of stuff down there and kind of go through it. The cardboard boxes over there. Some of the stuff Dad's got stored out there, and kind of go through it out here instead of trying to sit and go through it. Of course, Dad spent about 3 hours at the farm today going through one of those suitcases outside of Emma's stuff that was in that great big metal suitcase.
Yeah.
And then after you guys left, he found another suitcase in the house and wanted to know what was in it. And when I opened it, I said, "You can always look at it tomorrow." Well, what if I don't